Welcome, Pat. Happy Thursday, and welcome from the Rick Helps Real Estate Traveling Roadshow today.
Yep. Welcome, Rick. Welcome, everybody. People around the
Millions,
world, our millions of viewers. Good to
millions
see
and
you back
millions.
after a 2 week hiatus.
I'm just glad not to be driving right now. So that was one long trip. So I am up in the Pacific Northwest, right on the tip of Washington State, across from Victoria, British Columbia. So sitting here in a little nice RV park and visiting some family and friends. And it's 64 degrees. So I'm loving it. So sorry, Pat.
Yeah, 115 down here in the valley. So I don't get me started, Rick.
So I wanted to, everybody's focused like every time, the central bank's going to lower rates and a lot of pressure and a lot of media and how much the president wants them to come down and everybody giving their opinions and stuff. And I'm like, how much is it going to matter? I mean, in the scheme of things, because, you know, they pretty much got it baked in the cake, right? That they were going to have a September cut, and it's pretty much reflected in today's rates. They've come down. I mean, we're sitting here at an average in this survey of 6.55, but in September, if they lower it 50 or 75 basis points, I mean, are we even going to feel it? And then more importantly, is it going to make a difference in the market?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously the market has kind of reacted here, very quietly. We'll go into rates a little bit later on, but yeah, I mean, it's the market always discounts quietly the stuff that's going to happen. That everybody reads about, like, oh my God, I saw the rates were cut. No, yeah, that once again, we've talked about this several times over the last couple of years, but everything is kind of discounted 3 to 4 or 5 weeks beforehand. Yeah, I mean, now obviously the big talk will be. It looks like its consensus is they're going to cut rates, but how much? Quarter, half? I don't think they're going to go half. I think they'll just open up the door slightly. Just kind of say, okay, here we are, type of thing. I don't know.
Well, it's just definitely front page news. But I think, when I look at our market, and I'm going to share some numbers, and there was the big disconnect this year was sellers. They were very optimistic in January, and I found an article with from Realtor.com, and it's got this headline here, and it says, a huge majority of home sellers believe they'll get more than their asking price. This is in April of 2025. And that's why we didn't see asking prices coming down. That's why we saw expireds go up.
Yep.
Expired listings just kept climbing and climbing. We had a 1,200, and then we had 1,000. Today we've got 890. I'm talking over a 7-day moving average. So the number of expireds is coming down. But the people that listed in January thought, all right, here we go, let's go. And sellers are like, nope, they're following the news saying listings are way up, listings are growing and growing. And again, you can see they're not. They're coming down again. New listings are just continuing to not show up as we plow through the summer. Where will it go? Well, I kind of thought we'd flatline here at least a little bit, but we haven't. And so I'm looking and saying, okay, now I think we have a market where sellers are waiting, not just for rates. Sellers are waiting for a break in rates so they can list their home and get another one without jumping into the mid sevens. Buyers are waiting for more price relief. That's not the first thing on their radar. They want relief in pricing. And so it's coming ever so slowly. Some cities like Maricopa, it's coming pretty quick, Buckeye. But, the general area, it's not. If you look at our heat map here, contract ratio heat map.
Yeah, I like that. It gives you kind of a good visual.
Yeah, it's colored. So anything that's like light green is called balanced. Anything that's kind of this light blue is cold, and we're seeing a lot of light blue now and light green. We're not seeing anything that was hot like it used to be. And then if I jump ahead to this week, it's getting colder. So it's not
today. It's 115.
Yeah, I know. So average days on market continue to go up. And what I'm seeing is when you're trying to find the bottom, right? You never will. The bottom's always in the rearview mirror. Oh gosh, that was when we should have got in or when we should have got out. But I'm seeing week after week, everything's at a new low. We're averaging about 2,700 homes going under contract every 7 days now. The highest we've been at this year was 3,400.
Mm-hmm.
Expect this in September, October to spike back up to 3,400. Now, you wrote a letter to Chairman Powell, handwritten letter last August,
Yep.
asking him to lower rates. And lo and behold, he lowered rates in September, didn't he?
Yeah. I'd write him another one, but I don't know if maybe Trump is going to push him up beforehand. So I don't want to send the letter to the wrong person.
Well, not only on top of that, I brought up that I thought the real estate capital gains tax was useless, a waste of time. Get rid of it. Let sellers, keep their capital gains and then move on. And lo and behold, he's proposing that. So they're watching, right?
They're definitely been watching our show, right?
Yeah. So we got a surprise voicemail on the Rick Helps Real Estate voicemail here. I want to pull up for everybody. This just came in, and you probably haven't had a chance to listen to it, but check this out. This
Who
is
else called in?
Hey there, Pat and Rick. This is your buddy Bill. I want to let you guys know I watch you all the time with the other guys. And by other guys, I mean the Secret Service detail. I mean, let's face it, Hillary can't stand you too. But anyway, I think that Chairman Ballot guy's a knucklehead. I think I'd like to see interest rates get down to about zero tomorrow. I mean, let's face it, it won't be good for us. But I'd like to see what happens to Chappaqua in this house here. Maybe worth about $20 million. That'd be a bit of a train wreck. But anyhow, I was telling Hillary, I says, I got to get out and see those guys. And she screamed and she says, we don't need another house. Why are you thinking about going out to Arizona? And I said, look, be quiet. I'm not buying a house. I just want to go have a beer with those two. So keep up the good work and I'll keep watching.
So I haven't heard from him. I don't know if he's booked a trip yet. He probably just have a beer with you because I'm not there right now. But it just shows you the reach that we have here. I don't think anybody believes this. I think you just froze in time, Pat. You're frozen. You buffered. So he's going to jump back on. While Pat is gone, I want to stress that with artificial intelligence right now, there's a lot of new apps and things coming up so that you can find out the price of your home, the value of your home. And in the real estate industry, I'm seeing them come across that I can pay for the services for like $49 a month and have this AI program, and I can look and determine the price value of the home. The best one I like is what Pat uses, and it's called House Canary. And we use that, and appraisers use that. So you're going to see more and more of these things. So every AI program now, some of them are free, some of them are $20 a month, some of them are hundreds of dollars a year. And so what I've done is I went through and I looked at not all of the AI programs, but I started looking at ones that spit out the most accurate information. None of them do a good job. None of them on home price evaluation, setting your price and figuring out where you're at. So House Canary gives you a good range, but a realtor needs to look at that with you and discuss it with you to get that price range. But what I did, instead of you going out and buying, access to some of these AI programs, that's why I created that data store, which is that thing right there, that QR code. And then the link is down below. You can click on that and then just ask me for any report that you want. I've got some in there, like a zip code report, a general market report. So there's all kinds of stuff out there that you can ask for, whatever you think you want to have. And I'll get that right out to you. Welcome back, Pat. We do have a question. Are there any AZ cities passing new laws to prohibit short-term rentals? I heard Palm Springs did. I have not heard of any of that yet. I think that's kind of a tough thing to do. They're trying to do that in the town that I'm in right now, is restrict short-term rentals. And it just isn't working. I'm seeing Airbnbs struggling with occupancy. Yeah. So you're going to have a natural exit of that industry from people that buy them until it gets more balanced. Pat, we're talking about finding the bottom. This is interesting. You look at 2008, 2009, the listing success rate was in the 20s. But we've all of a sudden gone from 64% to 51%, which means 51% of you listed your house, you didn't get a contract. That's a big dip.
There's a huge
dip. So sales price to list price ratio is kind of along that same line, showing that you're getting 97%. Let me go back to this other one here for a second too, because I get a lot of questions on condos. So overall market, 51% listing success rate. Let me just filter this out and give you a condo for a second. And it kind of jumps around here a little bit. We're at 51%, 44%. Condos are having a harder time. If you look at the list price, sales price to list price, on average, you get 97%. Let's again look at condos. And on condos here, you're going to see that when I click on it, here we go, 98%. That's interesting, isn't it? They're having more success than single family houses. Median days on market are 48. We jumped up to 52 in 2023. So we're 48 for the general market. If again, I just filter in condos, and I wish it would do it easier than this, but it doesn't. We are sitting at 66. So if you're listing a condo, it's going to take you almost 20 days longer. And I'm wondering if that's because of all the certification delays. Foreclosures going up, but you can see here that reverted to the beneficiaries, 84 homes. In other words, those went back to the bank. And 47 of them got purchased by a third-party buyer, like wholesalers or investors. So we're not seeing, although the numbers going up, it's still way lower than it's ever been. Annual appreciation, total market is still up 1.7%. So, definitely down in single digits. But let's jump in about this possibility of a rate reduction with you, Pat. I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit. So I think, let's say they get down to 6.3, 6.4. I don't see a rush of buyers coming in, but I do see you're going to get busy with, I think, refis. What do you think?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, I think you're going to get, my personal opinion, I mean, 6.3, right now we're at 6.5. So how much further are we away from that? We're not that far away. So we're going to see people that maybe are a little bit on the fence. Back the last couple of years, we're certainly in a lot better position than we were a year and a half ago, with inflation going up and rates being unsettled. We're definitely, on the downtrend. I really think last Friday was a spectacular day in my book.
Well, I think, it's the optimism that people had for January to list their homes, I think, is the same optimism that buyers are having, thinking that rates are going to come down in September, October. And I think on both sides are going to be disappointed.
Okay, rates have come. I'm just going to keep talking. 6 and 7/8 down to 6 and 6.5. Okay, so I think obviously if somebody does, what we're going to probably see is marry the house, date the rate. You're going to see those people that obviously refinanced at 7.25 last year. They bought the rate down from 7 down to 5, and last year their rate maybe went from 5 to 6, and now it's adjusting maybe up to 7. They're going to maybe you'll see some refinances there, but I think prediction. Like I said, I really believe. I know you and I are a little bit even a little further. And if you do a 1-1 buy down right now at 6.5, you can get 2-year rate at 5.5 for 2 years. So I mean rates. People always say if I get in the 5s, I'm going to buy a house. So and you can do a permanent buy down two down. Obviously, get into the high 5s. So hopefully it just not be this one, big jump, where rates drop dramatically for 1 or 2 weeks like we saw in September of last year.
Well, what
You know,
about some of the things that you see where people say they
so
can refinance with no fees?
yeah, that's hogwash. There's fees everywhere. Lenders don't. Nobody works for free. I mean, get with a reputable person that will talk to you straight, give you the straight numbers, give you the breakdown, show you behind the scenes. Like, as obviously, if I could show, is my screen up again? Buffering again, it seems like maybe my buffering again. But when I'm talking to somebody on a refinance, I'll pull this up for them and say, listen, let's look at the rate stack. Where do you want to, for Provident, this is my $475,000 purchase, 25% down, 780 credit score right now. And that's the problem when people call in. You want to get with a lender that's going to give you just the straight scoop on numbers and not play any games, because a lot of lenders will quote you a lower rate, but then they don't tell you that they're using 3 points until you get the loan estimate, using 2-3 points to buy your rate down.
What about these places where it's kind of like car insurance too, where you submit your information for them to shop rates, like Lending Tree? What, when you're going to refinance, you put your information in Lending Tree. What happens?
Yeah, you get about 30 to 40, 50 calls. I just got a guy, I'm working on a gentleman up in Payson. He got referred to me by Washington Federal branches, banks that I do business with. And he said he unfortunately put his information into Lending Tree, and he got no less than 50 phone calls. And one guy said, hey, I got you a great rate, 10.5% on this HELOC. I looked him up, did the information. I got him 7.5% on a HELOC. He's like, well, the 10.5 is a great rate, sir. You got to take this. He goes, no, I don't. He called me and I said, hey, I get you 7.5%. I showed him the numbers, and we've been working together. So yeah, Lending Tree, you're gonna get inundated with call center jockeys that are gonna just beat you up on the phone. You're just a number. You're just another loan. You work with somebody, a broker like myself or a local person. I think they take great pride in trying to get the loan closed. Can I hit on a couple other key points on refinances?
Yes, please.
Because obviously, maybe the next couple months we are going to be, people are going to refinance. We just touched about the Lending Tree thing. You're going to be just another. You're going to get inundated. I mean, it's you're going to be so confused. Once again, no such thing as a free lunch. They raise their rate. Another thing is, be careful. These people. I know there was a company called, it has to do with a rocket. That's maybe, if that's the best way to put it. They're going to want to do a hard pull right away on your credit. I mean, if you're shopping around rates, don't have your credit pulled right away. Most people know their credit score. When I talk to a gentleman or a couple, they know their credit score. I'm not in a rush to pull their credit, because I don't want to pressure people, because once people get their credit pulled, they feel obligated to go with that person. And they can't shop, because that's a great game that these mortgage people play is, well, I pulled your credit. If you shop, your scores could go down 10 or 15, 20, 25 points. Within 30 days, you're allowed to do shopping. So your score is not going to probably, if you get pulled once or a couple of times within 30 days, you don't want to be pulling it 5 or 6, 7 times, bottom line. But don't be pressured into having your credit pulled away. They could do what's called a self pull. That does not have any effect on your credit. I'm not going to, for everybody that calls in though, and there's other lenders out there too that might start charging for credit reports up front, because even soft credit pulls now are like $50 to $60, and a hard credit pull is like $100 to $125, depending on your vendor. So you're not going to have, a lot of lenders might be like, hey, I'm going to charge you $100 for your credit report right away. Not all of them. But another thing is, have your target. Talk to somebody, experienced person, have a strategy in place, because last September, rates went down for about 10 to 15 days. There was about a 2-week period where you could locked in a rate, but then they went back up again. So I suggest people run your numbers. If you're at 7%, run your numbers and say, hey, if I can see rates get into the 5s, 5 3/4, 5 7/8, how much am I going to save? What's it going to cost me? do I have to get down to 5.5 to really, do I feel better at 5.5? Well, then, pick that rate, that target rate. When they start getting down in that range, pull the trigger, be ready to pull the trigger, because lenders have cut back staff the last 2 years. So you don't have as many people working behind the scenes in the offices. So when they get busy, their turn times might go from a couple of days to a couple of weeks, since they have a reduced staff. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Like I said, my biggest thing is set your target rate, what you feel is comfortable with, it's like a stock. You buy a stock at 10, it might go down to 9.5, but that was the bottom, right around the bottom before it goes to say 20. You're not going to catch the exact bottom, but that's why I say pick yourself a target rate where you're going to be happy. Another thing is too, once you get your payoff, the lender will call the title company. If they call for payoff, you have these bottom feeders that are going to call in and say, hey, I can do one better than you, or than what your guy's doing. I can do this. They're going to be probably calling from a call center out of California, just trying to bottom feed. What you see, you're always going to get that what's behind the curtain type of feeling. And that's why I said, work with somebody reputable. The biggest thing too is, like I said, look at your loan estimate when you get it. If you get quoted a rate, look at how many discount points they're using to buy the rate down. Like you said, you the rates that I show on a daily basis, I show people what their rate. Okay, it's 6 3/8. You're getting cost is this. It's 6%. Your cost is this. A lot of people don't. A lot of lenders will not show you that. You should be able to see your options of what you're paying to get that rate. There might be a better rate. Like, what, I want to maybe pay 10 grand to get 5 7/8. I try to go over that with people. Like, hey, if you're going down from 6 1/4 down to 5 3/4, it's going to cost you an extra $10,000. Is it really worth it? You want to have that conversation with intelligent conversation and set some strategy. So that's kind of just my little PSA for refinances. But if everybody's got any questions, call. So call somebody. Feel free to call me.
I didn't realize
in about 30 plus states in the country.
I didn't realize that a hard pull had gone up that much in price. So, and I can see how a lender can get you.
Before they used to be about $25, $30. Now they're like anywhere from 100 to 125.
Yeah, that's rough. Mm-hmm. That's rough. So, well, I think, in the next couple of weeks, I don't expect a whole lot to change, Pat. I don't expect anything on the rate front to change. I'm really watching to see if this low new listing number that we keep seeing is finally going to pull itself out, start coming up. I can't even begin to guess whether it will or it won't, but that's the one number I'm going to watch. Chanel here says rate reduction in Arizona will not move the needle. We're not going back to below 5s. Well, to a large extent, that's true, but there's also surveys out there where they've asked people what rate would get you back in the market given today's prices. And they've actually had over 60% say 5.5 and I'm back in. So, but again, those are national surveys.
The number was like, I think the number was like, it was like 70 or 75% actually. I think in one survey that they said, about 5.5 was kind of that sweet number. So
and that's all we can look at is surveys. We don't, you're just trying to guess. Thank you for the comment.
That's another thing. Speaking of surveys, I mean, the BLS numbers came out. Obviously, there's been a big hubbub this last week about the jobs report that came out. What's amazing is we make the most intricate, these quantum computers, these intricate microprocessors. We're the most advanced country in the world, and we still can't count jobs.
I know, and you know what? What I heard
is a survey, people calling.
They send them out on a fax. A fax. Who has a fax machine now? They went from 60% of the businesses responding to 43%. 33%.
Well, it's important, this job, this whole, it seems like the job counting, the job reporting is very antiquated, and it's certainly caused a lot of commotion in with the Federal, since the Federal Reserve is basing a lot of their policy, so to speak, on jobs and what's going on with jobs and unemployment. You think that we would, be able to count how many companies are adding or if they're subtracting. We it just doesn't seem that it should not be that hard. And
No.
I've always, the last couple of years, you've always heard my skepticism as far as these job reports, because they come out and they're all over the board. It's like it's somebody getting on the phone and saying how many jobs have you did you bring on openings, or like somebody calling now. Then you throw in the deportations. You don't know what's going on there. There's a lot going on right now with the job reports, and they don't have accurate information.
We see where Chanel says her agent think if rates go down, we're going to have another FOMO. I don't fear of missing out. I don't think so. We're not going to have this wave. I mean, we're going to be level, kind of hanging in there. Even if rates go down, it's not going to be a rush to the gate. And you're in Washington State. What part of Washington State? That's where I'm at the moment. I am in Port Angeles, and jobs reports. I don't know if I think there's some make-upness about them, because they're just trying to spit it out, but try to spit out a number. But I think it's just the systems were not talking to each other. I mean, you're gathering data from this and data from that, and they don't merge. I mean, Elon Musk was pointing out that some computer systems in the government are running on Windows 95. And so why is it that we have to conduct a survey with a phone call and a fax? It should just be a link.
I know.
And so those are the things that need to be looked at.
Should be some.
Yeah. So
I think we're talking about 30, 40-year-old integrated systems, and they're way behind. That's just obviously, but I read different posts on Facebook. People are having a hard time getting jobs, and you see people, the companies laying off. Some of the tech companies are laying off, and just seems like it's a very skewed market in terms of jobs reports. Nothing's ever been really. You can't really place any confidence in it whatsoever.
I think Microsoft laid off 9,000 people due to artificial intelligence. So it's
Wow.
So there's a lot of that going on, and they were code writers. You can get on AI and have it write code. It's fascinating. I had it write some HTML code for me, but it looked really fancy, but I had no idea what to do with it. I'd have to have a WordPress site. It's like I got the code, and it's like a dog chasing a car. Once they catch it, they don't know what to do with the car. So I got this code. Now, cool. Now what? So I was trying to automate.
Yeah.
Don't forget to sign up my newsletter. The link is down below. It comes out every Monday morning at 7 a.m. And I am working on making that easier and fancier and more in depth as well. I'm working on getting more of an automated newsletter that comes out to you that has more than just a few things in it. You can click on links and go look at pertinent articles for Arizona. And again, don't forget the data store, because I've had so many zip code reports I've prepared. I've also taken information from the Cromford report, loaded it in there, and had them take the paragraphs that they write and convert it to charts. And it comes out pretty cool. So anything you're looking for, just shoot me an email and see what I can conjure up for you. Some people want to know the rental rates. They want to know the foreclosure rates. And even Microsoft is laying people off. Yeah, my son works for Microsoft. He works for a gaming company, and he avoided a layoff. But on the last round that they had, he said they used this chat thing called Slack. He goes, he just noticed people one morning just dropping off. He goes, oh no. So, well, Pat, thanks for joining me, and try to survive the heat there. I won't send you any more texts on what the weather's like. So
I will.